What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I'm bringing this piece because we are literally hours away from the midterm elections in this damn country. And I have come because we all hear those voices that say, I don't vote. Excuse me. I don't vote. My vote doesn't count. And any list of other tired ass excuses. Well, I will even allow there might have been a time when those claims might have been valid. But I'm here to say to you now, they are not. They have not been any more untrue ever than they are now. The fact of the matter is the black vote is the vote. The level of voter suppression that's going on across this bitch is unlike anything unseen before. They've always been playing around with the vote, particularly as it relates to us, because our numbers are greater than they are ever going to admit. My king, my hero, and one of the souls that possesses my very being to this day is Malcolm X, who was saying to our people back when he lived that the white man can't agree on anything between themselves. He was specifically talking about voting. And he was saying, you know, this is why when you see they're voting, they're always 50-50. 50% on one side, 50% on the other one. They can't agree. But when you vote as a group, whichever way you go, that's the way the election go. That's what Malcolm was saying. And we clearly have more population of ourselves now than we did then. We're no longer the margins. We are the vote. White folks voted for Obama. We elected Obama. You'll remember, what was it, earlier this year or last year, whenever it was, some state, there was a race that was going on, and they were saying black women are the ones who were responsible for the victory of that candidate. Black women. So, such is the case now because you don't see them oppressing any other vote other than ours. They're not after the Indian vote. They're not after the Arab vote, the Asian vote, the Latino vote. It's us, bitches. It's us. We decide elections, everybody. This is why you must go vote on tomorrow. You must. You must. Because even as I speak now, there are more babies now at this point in the video than there was when I opened up and said, what's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. There's more black babies now. And there'll be even more when I finish this video. So, you have to understand, there was a time before we could vote at all where they just didn't want you to vote because they didn't want you being part of their society in any way. That's their asset, and you're not allowed to have anything that belongs to them. Then the Voting Rights Act comes along in 1965, and now you can vote. No, they didn't like it, and they still played shenanigans and games, but you weren't so much of a threat. Now you are a threat. They don't want you involved in their voting because you have taken away their power. And for them, voting and politics is equated with way of life for them. They want your ass out. But the advantage we have now is that we're too big now to suppress. It used to be a couple votes here, a couple votes there, they could do their thing. Now it's too big of a stain. They can't cover it up with the same sheet that they had used before. We cover too much acreage now in our population representation. It's too big now. They can't cover it up as quietly and as easily as they used to. And here's what you must understand most importantly. When you talk about power and bitching about who's in office and they haven't done anything for you, and they can't, so and so didn't do this and they can't do that and they're not doing this and they're not doing that. Well, here you got to understand, everybody, you got to have a long-term game for everything that you do, and you have to, as a people, get into the habit of planting seeds that maybe you will not even see the shit when it comes up, but you still got to plant them damn seeds. Stop being the right now me, right now only me, tired ass black person. Start planting seeds that are for a future that you may not live to see. Because we are standing on the fruits that were planted by those who never saw this come to pass. And we must do the same thing. This is how you change the legacy and the trajectory of a people. So when you start small and you begin to first realize your power, now you're able to vote in who you think is the best candidate. But by your numbers, after 1, 2, 3 election cycles, you now are in the rooms with those people saying, you know and I know that we're the reason why you're in here. And they can't deny it. Now you're in a position to make demands before they even run. You saw what we did to the last 3 candidates, right? You say that. See who we got elected for president. See who we got elected to the Senate. See who we got elected to governor. See that? You see that? You said that was real nice, huh? That was real nice, right? You like that? See? Okay, now your bitch ass is not running for shit unless we get this, and we lay out our demands. Then suddenly you have candidates that are running on your fucking agenda. But you got to plant that seed right now. Right now. And it begins with your ass, first of all, recognizing and embracing your power and getting your bitch ass out tomorrow and voting. You understand? But first, I want to begin so that I can educate everybody about what the hell is voter suppression. You see? What is it? So, let us go to that. But I want to digress on something. You know, also, Malcolm was saying at the time, you know, we were, I think, 12% of the population, whatever he was saying. Well, we're no longer that. You understand? And if we had 50-50 power then, where we wait for y'all to get 50-50 and then we tilt the scale with our weight, now we on both sides, goddammit. We are the scale. I really need you to be clear about that. And all the evidence that's out there, and I can't bring you everything. I'm just going to bring you a little bit just to try and give you a taste. But it should be so evidently clear to you that you are the target. This isn't just a general voter suppression issue. No. This is black voter suppression. Period. That's the only kind that exists. That's it. They're not worried about nobody else. It's your ass. Because I don't care how many immigrants are going to come here, your ass has been here long before the first one ever touched their toe on this bitch. So you've had hundreds of years of head start of population growth. I reject this whole, oh, Latinos have passed us and everybody's passing us. I reject that shit. I reject that. You got to put out old thinking and pick up new understanding. It's very key. If you think you're powerless, you won't act in a place of power. If you think you're a minority, you will act in a place of a minority, etc., etc. So you must understand your numbers are far greater than they are ever going to tell you. And you must understand that you now determine elections. You're not just the margins anymore. You're not just the margins. Everybody needs us. That's why you have the Republicans scrambling. Trump's been doing it since he fucking started out. That's why everybody's been going to that fucking White House and the Trump Tower before that and all the shit. They need the fucking black vote. And know this. Trump is the last Republican president, everybody, because black folks don't vote for Republicans. And they don't have enough white folks to ever get another white Republican elected. The only way they win is if they cheat. That's it. And the harder, the bigger, the more of us that show up and show our real mass, it becomes impossible for them to cheat. No more white Republican president. Draw a line and a period at that section in history. It's over. I proclaim to you this day that it's over. It's over. It's over. So put a period. You understand? You are the only shit that matters. Go and exercise your power. Let us now first help everybody understand what exactly is this fucking voter suppression bullshit. Let's go.
A crowning achievement of the historic March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech, was pushing through the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965. Recognizing the history of racist attempts to prevent black people from voting, that federal law forced a number of southern states to adhere to federal guidelines allowing citizens access to the polls. But in 2013, the Supreme Court effectively gutted many of these protections. As a result,
you see, they're trying to take your bitch ass backwards. Trying to take your bitch ass backwards. And again, before we go on, I'm trying to let this just play, but you have to ask yourself, why? I always tell you the most beautiful word that ever comes out of the mouth of a child is that. Why? They need an answer for every damn thing. Because everything is new to them. And they're always wondering, how does this affect me? Why? The only reason is exactly what I'm saying to you in this piece, and the whole reason why I'm doing this piece is to say to you the reason why is because your vote is the vote. That's what they're watching on any goddamn election night for any fucking race, national, state, or goddamn it federal. You understand? It's us, everybody.
result,
Wait, all right, let's go back and I'll shut up. I'll try to shut up. No promises.
a crowning achievement of the historic March on Washington, where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech, was pushing through the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965. Recognizing the history of racist attempts to prevent black people from voting, that federal law forced a number of southern states to adhere to federal guidelines allowing citizens access to the polls. But in 2013, the Supreme Court effectively gutted many of these protections. As a result, states are finding new ways to stop more and more people, especially African Americans and other likely Democratic voters, from reaching the polls. Several states are requiring government-issued photo IDs, like driver's licenses, to vote, even though there's no evidence of the voter fraud this is supposed to prevent. But there's plenty of evidence that these ID measures depress voting, especially among communities of color, young voters, and lower-income Americans. Alabama, after requiring photo IDs, has practically closed driver's license offices in counties with large percentages of black voters.
You see what I'm saying? You are the target, everybody. So you need to be clear as we're going through this. This isn't about voter suppression. This is, hear me now. Hear me. Hear me. This is not about voter suppression, everybody. This is about denying black voters, preventing black voters. Because I always tell you, language matters. Language matters. So, and they're pointing out that it's specifically us, but I'm just trying to make sure you're on the right page to understand. We're not using all that. Oh, it's just a lot of voter suppression, a lot of voter. No, bitch. It's a lot of black targeting of black voters. This is all about us. From when you hear it from me in this video, when you hear it on TV, you read it in a newspaper or magazine, doesn't matter. Know that they're only talking about you. You. All right, let us go on now. I'll go back, press Goshen. I'll try to shut up and just do my dissertation at the end. But no promises, goddammit.
These, like driver's licenses, to vote, even though there's no evidence of the voter fraud this is supposed to prevent. But there's plenty of evidence that these ID measures depress voting, especially among communities of color, young voters, and lower-income Americans. Alabama, after requiring photo IDs, has practically closed driver's license offices in counties with large percentages of black voters. Other states are reducing opportunities for early voting. And several state legislatures, not just in the South, are gerrymandering districts to reduce the political power of people of color and Democrats, and thereby guarantee Republican control in Congress. Here's one way they do it. Now, here are 16 black dots and 12 white squares. If districts were not gerrymandered, they might look like this, and 3 out of 4 would have black dot majorities. But after gerrymandering, 3 out of 4 have white square majorities. We need to move to the next stage of voting rights, a new Voting Rights Act that renews the law that was effectively repealed by the conservative activists on the Supreme Court, and also sets minimum national standards, providing automatic voter registration when people get driver's licenses, allowing at least 2 weeks of early voting, and taking districting away from the politicians and putting it under independent commissions. Voting rights are too important to be left to partisan politics. We must not allow anyone's votes to be taken away.
Now, I also have to point out the glaring hypocrisy. These same white ass motherfuckers who are slicing up counties, they're gonna make themselves the majority no matter what. You understand? Just like they have people who are from other countries, who are Arab, who are Latino, come here, they make them declare themselves white so they can pump up their numbers on the fucking census. And every year, it turns out we're the majority still again. Huh? But them same motherfuckers slicing it up to do this type of shit are the same motherfuckers that was burning their goddamn Nikes because a black man says, I'm not standing or acknowledging your shit. Same motherfuckers that would have some shit to talk about Colin Kaepernick. He's unpatriotic, they say. Well, this is the height of unpatriotic to play with the very, what they call the foundation of democracy, and that is your fucking right to vote. Same motherfuckers would be calling him everything other than divine creation of the Most High. I had to get that in. Now, I want to look at this clip, and then we're going to go into one of our articles, but the one that's standing out the most in all of this, and all of it's bullshit, like across the country, all right, this one is specifically evil because this is Georgia, and you have a sister, Stacey Abrams, that's running for governor. She'd be the first black female governor of any state ever. All right, so it would be historical. And Oprah has gone down there, literally going door to door, knocking on doors. Oprah damn Winfrey, I understand that. All right, she's giving speeches, she's at rallies, she's doing it all. Obama has been down there, and like I said, there's a list of celebrities. But why this is particularly evil, and to help you understand it, is because she's running against a dude who is the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State is the person that certifies the elections, everybody. I cite for you, back in 2000, Katherine Harris was the Secretary of State in Florida, and Bush's brother was the fucking governor. Like, the fix is in. The fix is in. This is why Gore They early in the night they had already projected Florida was going for Gore. Gore was going to be president. Then in the middle, nope, we're getting another projection. Nope, it's not in Al Gore's corner. This was their finagling. You understand what I'm saying? Why isn't somebody there to fucking beat the fuck out of these people or take them to jail or do something? Why? So the very dude who is doing all of the voter bullshit in Georgia is the very dude that's the candidate too. Like, there's a saying, I can't remember it now. Like, the fox is guarding the something, I don't know. But nah, if you running for goddamn it governor, you're running for anything. That means you're the dude that certifies the election. You have to step out of that position now. You don't get to be Secretary of State no more. That's what I'm saying. In other countries, they storm shit, everybody. Not a report and people, expressing their opposition to shit. They storm shit physically. Like, how can this be? But meanwhile, if the tables were exactly turned and Stacey Abrams was Secretary of State running against his white ass, this would be a federal fucking case. They would have been disqualified her from being able to run. Been disqualified her. So this is blatant white hate and evil and racism and privilege and everything else you want to put on the fucking list. It's all of it. So you always have to jump higher. You see what I'm saying? She's winning, but she's probably really crushing him. But we don't know that because of all the antics that are being pulled. See this report now. I think this is ABC News.
We're driving along I-85. It might be a race for the governor's mansion in Georgia, but this is one that the entire country is watching. In the red state of Georgia, where the fish is fried and the tea is sweet, the politics are about as bare knuckle as it comes.
This is a battle for the soul of our state, y'all.
We have an opponent who is an architect of voter suppression.
An historic race in a dead heat.
We are Georgia!
Partly because of Stacey Abrams, a 44-year-old Democratic leader in the Georgia House.
I'm Stacey Abrams, and I'm running for governor.
Who, if elected, would become the first black female governor of any state in U.S. history.
We want all of Georgia to see themselves reflected in my leadership. And yes, I'll be the first black woman to be a governor in the history of the United States.
But it's more than that. The sister is not light-skinned. She ain't thin. She got a gap in her upper two top teeth. She got locks. You understand what I'm saying? That's a real sister, at least on visuals. You see, we hope she's, we hope. But visually, you see what I'm saying? She's not even Kamala Harris, who's got the long straight hair and is light skinned and she's thin and she's perfect and I'm over it. You see, that's the other thing that makes this beautiful. Like, I just want her to win just on that even. You feel me? Anyway, but she would be crushing his. Well, shut up, Jedi. Shut up. Hear this report, everybody. Hear it. Damn it.
To see themselves reflected in my leadership. And yes, I'll be the first black woman to be a governor in the history of the United States. But what that also means is that I'm opening the door for the next person and the person after that.
President Trump captured the state by a little over 5 points. So here, it seems, the prize is much more than a government title. It just may be for the soul of the South, even as long-standing allegations of voter suppression swirl. The candidates themselves, polar opposites. For the Republicans, Trump backed Brian Kemp, Georgia's current Secretary of State.
I got a big truck, just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yeah, big truck.
You have to infuse that bullshit.
Trump backed Brian Kemp, Georgia's current.
Visuals, everybody. Notice what his crowds look like. Nothing but fucking white people.
Secretary of State.
I got a big truck, just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yep, I just said that.
He's unapologetically
There's your coon. You can always be counting on one of y'all black Christian motherfuckers to sell us the fuck out.
conservative, a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment, religious liberty legislation, and stricter immigration laws.
We are building a red wall right here in the state of Georgia.
Abrams running unabashedly as a progressive, advocating for LGBTQ equality, stricter gun control, and the expansion of Medicaid. There hasn't been a Democratic governor here in more than 15 years.
Yes.
But you, a black woman, progressive?
Y'all know that's Al Roker's wife right there.
Years.
Yes.
But you, a black
That's Al Roker's woman.
woman, progressive, can change that?
Absolutely. Because Georgia has changed over the last 20 years. Our votes! Our time!
For her supporters, Abrams' candidacy is bigger than her.
Meanwhile, her shit look like everybody. It's always that way. Like I say, Republican just means white, fucking racist, hateful ass, angry people. That's it. Trump is the last fucking Republican president, everybody. He's the last one. The only way they can win is if they cheat. And it's becoming too big of a stain to cover up now.
Absolutely think Georgia's ready for a progressive Democrat. I mean, this is the birthplace of civil rights.
Abrams has attracted major star power.
We need to vote for Stacey Abrams.
With celebrity endorsements from John Legend and Will Ferrell.
Knocking on doors 2 days.
Even Oprah is campaigning with her on Thursday, and former President Obama joining her later this week. Her opponent has used that to his advantage.
That is not Georgia.
That's by the way, all that stuff has already happened now. Like, you know, whenever this report is from, I'm saying like Obama's been down there, the huge crowds, all the stuff. I mean, just all of it. All these people that they are showing have and are there.
Later this week, her opponent has used that to his advantage.
Look, they always in some little barn with 2 or 3 people. Listen, if you just look at the visuals, you can always tell who the fuck is winning, everybody. You understand? You can always tell. And so every time they show this bitch, he's in front of like 2 or 3 people and they're all white.
Her opponent has used that
Look at this bullshit.
to his advantage.
That is not Georgia values. That is values of
Values. V-A-Y-U-S. Values.
California or New York.
You've had a lot of funding from outside sources. Are you running a state campaign or a national campaign?
We're running a locally grounded campaign that is nationally known. We have more than 5 times the number of individual donors from the state of Georgia giving to us.
Brian Kemp, a dad of 3 daughters, has gotten perhaps the only endorsement he needs from the commander-in-chief himself. President Trump tweeting recently that Kemp will be a great governor and will campaign for him right before the election. That resonated with Ted Badami and his daughter Gianna at a Kemp campaign event here in Jessup, Georgia. Why'd you bring your daughter here today?
Well, we love Trump, and I've listened to some of the things that I've heard him say, and it's right along.
I'm over it. Why'd you bring your daughter today? Well, we love Trump. She fucking hasn't even figured out her bra and lipstick yet.
And I've listened to some of the things that I've heard him say, and it's right along line with my conservative values.
My conservative values, you see what I'm saying? This is why they shouldn't be allowed to fucking vote, everybody. People are voting on issues and shit that matters to their kitchen table. White people, especially fucking Republicans, with this values bullshit. That's just code for racist fuck bullshit. You understand? They should be removed from all the fucking voter rolls. Now, if they just show they face, the bitch can't vote. That's who's fucking it up for everybody. You understand? This is why you haven't gotten the proper leadership that you want, because everybody that you do get, they're outnumbered by the ones that you don't want. So when they get in, they are outnumbered by motherfuckers that are doing everything else other than what is good for you.
Some of the things that I've heard him say, and it's right along line with my conservative values.
Look, I just really like him. Look, her little ass hasn't even figured out her first bra or fucking lipstick yet. Hear this.
Along line with my
Look, but there she is.
conservative values.
I just really like him. What time are cartoons on? I can't.
Hey,
Hey, how are you? Good to see you too. I'm enjoying.
His campaign declined our request for a formal interview, so we caught up with him at one of his events.
Obviously, he's doing some event where it's a lot of black folks trying to get some votes. Fuck him.
Pretty reliably conservative state. How can it be so tight when you're facing an admitted progressive?
This looks, I don't know what that is. What is that? These people all have on these, I don't know, was that Job Corps or something? I don't know.
Well, I think the race right now, you know, it's been a lot of momentum on the Democratic side all around the country. The Republican base was just not real motivated. That changed a couple of weeks ago.
At the heart of this battle for Georgia's future, what critics say is a blatant attempt by Republicans to intimidate voters of color. Emmett Bondurant, a longtime civil rights lawyer, says he's watched it happen for decades.
There is a history of voter suppression, not only here, but nationwide.
In fact, an AP...
That's important to hear coming out of the face of a white man, everybody. Not only here, but nationwide, he said, because I've always contended, and I will continue, until I take my last breath. They want you to always think of racism and slavery and all that shit as just being in the South, and that's it. Wherever these people were and are, there are problems. Racism, voter suppression, anything the fuck you're going to come up with. The white person in the South is no different than the person in the North or the East or the West. No fucking difference. You need to be clear about that shit. And his statement confirms that. I don't need this. I'm sharing this with you. You understand? But I need to be able to point out when that is just like so evidently like the fucking truth.
In fact, an AP report found 53. A longtime civil rights lawyer says he's watched it happen for decades.
There is a history of voter suppression, not only here, but nationwide.
In fact, an AP report found 53,000 voter registration applications are on hold thanks to a so-called exact match law.
Now that's this Georgia bullshit. That's the same dude she's running against is the one putting this bullshit in place. Voting rights become a flashpoint in Georgia. They just want to win. It's not about being fair. That's why I tell you, you can't ever play by the rules. You should always be scheming, because that's what your fucking opponent is doing. Damn. You get on a damn job, as soon as you get on that bitch, you need to be figuring out how you can make their life a fucking nightmare and get their bitch ass fired, because as soon as they see your black ass, that's what they plotting on you. You understand? Doesn't matter what you're doing in the damn society. Your ass needs to be goddamn it plotting, because you're being plotted on. Instead, you go in there with that, I want to just get along with everybody in that Christian bullshit. And that's why you crash and burn every time.
In fact, an AP report found 53,000 voter registration applications are on hold thanks to a so-called exact match law.
Hear this shit now, exact match.
Requiring applicants' information to exactly match other government records. So a misplaced hyphen or middle initial.
A misplaced hyphen or middle initial. So let's say sometimes you write your name and you put your middle initial, and sometimes you don't. You see? If you have a time that you did and a time that you don't, that's not an exact match, and your shit is on hold. Even though they know it's you, they can verify by the social security number, the address, and all the other bullshit. It's not an exact match. You see, this is back to let's count the number of bubbles on a damn wet bar of soap, or the number of jelly beans in a fucking jar. It's the same shit, everybody. That's why I tell you, ain't shit changed. This is the same fucking people that we encountered in 1619 that brought us to these same shores. It's the same motherfuckers now. You're seeing the same evil faces that your ancestors encountered. The same ones.
Hold thanks to a so-called exact match law requiring applicants' information to exactly match other government records, so a misplaced hyphen or middle initial can stall an application and a vote. As Secretary of State, Kemp is the architect of that law, saying he's trying to prevent...
Where the black folks at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where the black folks at? Where the black folks at? Huh? Republican means angry fucking white racist, everybody. We're going to keep saying that. That's all it means. That's all it means. You understand? Because that's all you see in any of they motherfuckers. If you go back and look at any of Trump's bullshit, all his fucking rallies were white. Period. Angry ass white people. That's it. That's the party for that shit.
Voter fraud.
You talked about all the votes. What about voter suppression? People are saying that minority
that's
votes.
a myth. That is a myth that the Democrats bring out every 2 years. We have record number of people on our voting rolls.
But there's this detail. The majority of those 53,000 voter applications are overwhelmingly minority voters.
You see, and fuck her with that, are overwhelmingly minority. No, bitch. Black. Period. Don't give us this minority bullshit. The only minority they focused on is our black ass, because we're not the minority. We're not. We're not. We're the goddamn majority. You think they're ever going to tell you that?
The majority of those 53,000 voter applications are overwhelmingly minority voters, voters who often choose Democrats. Most of those voters can still cast a ballot as long as they bring a photo ID to the polls.
So what do you say to those who say that you're trying to suppress the vote? What do you say?
I'm not trying to suppress.
We gotta go.
The numbers don't lie about that fact. Minority participation is up 23% in Georgia. 23%. That's what you should report, and not believe this BS about voter suppression.
And not believe the BS about voter suppression. Everything about him is a fucking cross burner. You understand? And they always have to talk tough and all the bullshit. You don't hear that. This sister's demure and nice and shit. I mean, you don't ever hear, like, Democratic candidates in general. You never hear them have to get hostile and shit. It's only Republicans are hostile ass fucking white people. That's what they are.
Georgia, 23%. That's what you should report, and not believe this BS about voter suppression.
Whether it's 5 people or 5,000 people or 50,000 people, his job is to guarantee that every Georgian who is eligible gets registered to vote. And instead, he has purged them.
Exact match doesn't just apply to registrations. There's also a signatures requirement, allowing officials to toss absentee ballots and applications if a signature doesn't match the one on file. The ACLU and other groups have filed lawsuits claiming hundreds of absentee ballots and applications were tossed.
Listen, nobody signs their name exactly the same every time, everybody. I've seen my own signature on shit I know I signed and remembered signing it and everything and didn't recognize it. Or even just full writings, not just even my signature. I, for one, don't write the same all the time. I don't. I just don't.
A judge halted that practice last week, and Kemp appealed, calling absentee voting a privilege and a convenience.
See there? So you have the Democrat, the people interested in righteousness, we'll just use those two terms, righteousness and evil, went to a court and said this is some bullshit. The court agreed. So hateful are they would come back and appeal that, to appeal their evil, to want to still, I fucking hate these people, dude. You see what I'm saying? Motherfuckers like this, you don't file injunctions. Do you understand? Something happens to his fucking tour bus when he's on it. You see?
Calling absentee
fuck all this footsies bullshit.
Voting a privilege and a convenience. College student Lana Goitia was eager to cast her absentee ballot, especially as a Latina voter.
It's pretty exciting to have the opportunity to have a say in.
She's a Latina.
And so
nah. Nah. You're not a Latina, chick. I'm so sorry. You see, damn it. Who thought she was a damn Latina before they said that shit? No one.
Exciting to have the opportunity to have a say in some big decisions for.
She's not a Latina. I don't give a fuck what you tell me.
For our state.
Her class and work schedule wouldn't allow her to make the hour drive to vote in person.
I've made sure to fill it out correctly and then sent it in. And then probably about 2 weeks after I sent it in is when I got notice that it had been rejected. I think votes like mine are ones that scare, Secretary Kemp.
She was told her signatures didn't match.
I wasn't given a process to, fix my ballot or have it reinstated prior to the rejection.
Under the Voting Rights Act, states which had a...
Plus, whatever you're writing with can affect your writing too. All pens don't write the same way. They just don't. Also, where you're signing on a document, how much space you have when you're signing, both where your hand is and how much space is on the paper and all those things. I mean, it just is a lot of things that affect how your signature looks.
Prior to the rejection.
Under the Voting Rights Act, states which had a history of voter disenfranchisement were monitored by the federal government. But a 2013 Supreme Court ruling undid that requirement.
You've been on this case for a long time. Do you feel like we're going backwards?
I am both surprised and disappointed that we're going in the opposite direction of making it harder for people to vote.
A federal study looked at those southern states and examined 5 kinds of voter suppression tactics. Georgia, the study says, was the only state to have adopted all 5.
So they got every type of voter suppression in place in goddammit Georgia. Every single one of them. Georgia's the only place that's adopted all 5. That means we're going to do it all to these niggas. We don't want their bitch ass to vote. They trying to hold on to Georgia. Damn it, I wish I lived in fucking Georgia. I wish to God I did. Lord knows I lived in Atlanta for a while and I loved it. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. My God. And the people were amazing. 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 Let's hear this out.
Mr. Kemp has created an atmosphere of fear around the right to vote in the state of Georgia.
Abrams calling on her opponent to step down, but Kemp is standing firm.
I took an oath of office to serve as Secretary of State, and
now, if that was a black person, they would already sent the fucking somebody there to just remove them from office physically. But his white ass can sit there, I took an oath and I'm not stepping down, I'm not going nowhere, and I'm not doing anything. How the fuck do you have like omnipresent power and shit? Just use the solitary individual. Fuck no.
Standing firm.
I took an oath of office to serve as Secretary of State, and that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. I'm doing the exact same thing that Democrat Kathy Cox was doing when she was running for governor.
Their fate is now in the hands of voters.
He believes in the same values that I do. He's conservative, believes in the Second Amendment, lower taxes.
See, this bullshit, it's the same vomit. Angry ass fucking white people that don't have no financial problems. Second Amendment, lower taxes, fuck you. Get off the planet.
Believes in the Second Amendment, lower taxes, and just believes in the same type of conservative things that I do.
And just believes like the same type of conservative things that I believe. Well, what is that? Write that down on a piece of paper and give it back to me. They'll never come back because there's not shit to write down.
Stacey Abrams represents the future of Georgia as I want to see it. It's time for women and people of color to be in power.
It's clear Georgians are eager to decide the future of their state, as long as that unalienable right, the right to vote, is not taken away. For Nightline, I'm Deborah Roberts in Noonan, Georgia.
Anyway.
Deborah Roberts.
We're going to get to, I'm not going to make this as long as I thought I was going to. I think I can use this next piece to cover everything that I really wanted to share with you in this piece, and we can be over it and out. Now this is from the New York Times. They really don't want us to vote. How Republicans made it harder. Damon Johnson, sophomore, Prairie View University, Texas, voted on campus. Also, Texas is another one that's standing out too, everybody. I mean, it's just, I mean, wow. You know, I can't. Anyways, Prairie View, Texas. Damon Johnson, a 19-year-old sophomore studying chemical engineering at historically black Prairie View A&M University. He's learning a lot about voting too. Mr. Johnson is one of the plaintiffs in a lawsuit filed last month by the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund, alleging that rural Waller County had tried to disenfranchise students at the university over decades. Most recently, by curtailing early voting on campus. The polling station at the university's Student Center was restricted to 3 days of early voting, compared with 2 weeks in some other parts of the country, and 2 weeks at majority white Texas A&M in a nearby county. So the white people still get fucking 2 weeks. Niggas only get 3 days. You see? I don't want this to be the reason, but it looks like we're, I don't know what that is. Prairie View. Oh, okay. Looks like we're Prairie View, whatever, in a predominantly white area, and they don't really want us to vote, Johnson said recently. Listen again, everybody. If they can't cheat, they can't win. It's always like that. From a reality singing show to fucking Survivor to any fucking thing we've ever seen. Anytime we come up against these fucking people, we fucking win, and they know it. And that goes all the way to the vote. If they can't cheat, they can't win. They can't win. And you have to ask yourself, if your vote didn't matter, why is all of, like, there's no way I could bring you all the shit that's out there. We'd be here for many, 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 many hours, because this is going on all over the fucking country. Everywhere. All the time. But you should be asking your black self, if my vote didn't matter, would they be doing this shit? Would they? The answer is a resounding hell no. This is all the more reason why you got to get your bitch ass out tomorrow and vote. Okay, I don't do ads. I'm over it. Here's one to click on here. You read about 4 other fights over voting rights. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we'd be here. Limiting access to voting is rooted deep in American history. No. White history, beginning with the Founding Fathers and peaking during the Jim Crow era in the South. But in the wake of the Civil Rights Movement and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the idea that disenfranchising legitimate voters was unethical and even un-American gained traction. No more. Almost 2 decades after the Bush v. Gore statement, led to voting rules being viewed as key elements of election strategy, the issue is playing an extraordinary role in the midterm elections. Restrictions on voting, virtually all imposed by white ass fucking Republicans, reflect rising partisanship, societal shifts, producing a more diverse America, and the weakening of the Voting Rights Act by the Supreme Court, and the weakening of the Voting Rights Act by the Supreme Court in 2013. And who sits on the fucking Supreme Court? White ass fucking people. You see, as long as they exist, you're always gonna have a society that's fucked up. Like I said, America looks real good on paper as an idea. And that idea is never gonna come to fruition until you get rid of these fucking people. Till God has exterminated them off the fucking earth. It's the only time that humanity is going to be able to be just that, humanity, no matter where they exist. In North goddammit Dakota, Republicans passed the ID law that disproportionately affects native fucking people. You see? I actually have a news clip on that. I don't know if I'm going to play it now. I don't know if I need it. Strong supporters of the state's Democratic Senator Heidi somebody, who is in an uphill fight. In Florida, New Hampshire, Texas, and Wisconsin, among others, out-of-state university students face unusual hurdles for casting ballots. That's the word, unusual. That means they're changing the rules for their black ass. Voting rights, and then they'll ask you, why do you have to always make everything about race? Because everything is about race when your bitch asses are involved in it. Do you see this in just this very piece that I'm doing? It becomes about race the moment you show up. Voting rights advocates in Missouri are arguing in court that the state underfunded efforts to educate residents on a voter ID law. In North Carolina, the legislature's regulation of early voting hours has shuttered polling places across the state, even as it purports or says it wants to increase voting opportunities. Again, that's the forked tongue. We want to increase voting opportunities while they're shutting shit down. Nathaniel Pursley, a Stanford University law professor and elections scholar, said what was going on reflected a shift from a belief in shared rules of democracy towards one that sees elections as struggles for power, in which you need to push up against the rules to win. I love that. Thank you, Nathaniel. That's it. That nutshells what I'm trying to say in my entire thinking, my entire argument, everything I'm saying. What did they just say there, Jedi? White folks understand that they cannot fucking win anything in this bitch. You understand that this country is majority fucking minority, period. And it's more of us than them. Certainly more African people. When we look at the fact that more babies of color, and I would suggest that's black babies, but we'll share it with everybody else. That's fine. More babies of color are being born than white babies. I brought you a whole video on that. Brought the evidence. You see? So these very people that claim they want equality and we should just get along, we need to have a conversation, all that bullshit, that's just talk. That's just pablum puke coming out of their face. They don't fucking mean it. Because equality feels like oppression to them. The moment it's equal, they feel like it's somehow it was something staged, or it was something unfair, or woe is me. Nah. I heard Michael Moore say on one of these nightly talk shows, he looked right into the camera, he said, "Angry white men, give it up. Get over it." Like, we've ruled for the last 10,000 years. Our time is up. You know? And so that's what this encompasses for me. Societal shifts. You understand? Is the problem. That means it's not white no more. And what was the language? This said that what was going on reflected a shift from a belief in shared rules of democracy that were all the same, shared rules of democracy, to one that sees elections as a struggle for power. No, we cannot let those niggers win anything. We got to keep it white and to our values, as they say. You see, brilliantly said. Brilliant, 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 Nathaniel Pursley. Thank you. He added, we've reached a situation in which the fight over the rules and who gets to vote is seen as a legitimate part of the electoral fucking competition. Wow. Republicans consistently say restrictions on registering and voting are needed to combat election fraud. A view most prominently expressed in the fucking Tulip's widely derided statement, with no evidence that millions of illegal voters cost him the popular vote in 2016. Studies regularly conclude that fraud is exceedingly rare. The only people doing fraud is their white ass, while claiming they're looking for fraud, while they're doing fraud. I can't. Wow. Studies regularly conclude that the fraud is exceedingly rare. A New York Times survey of 49 state election offices after the 2016 general election found no allegations of widespread fraud and no damn fraud claims at all in 26 goddamn states. But even within the Republican Party, there's not universal agreement. Yes, there is. The Texas Secretary of State, Rolando Pablos, a Republican, sent a letter Tuesday asking Waller County to extend early voting at Prairie View's campus polling site throughout the week. The county resisted, however. So you have to go down there and deal with them motherfuckers at the county then. You see, there has to be consequence, everybody. People have to feel like you're coming for them and like they're going to get snatched the fuck up. Otherwise, they just sit there and chew their gum and sip their coffee with no fucking threat to them while they're disenfranchising you and fucking doing you wrong. Nah. They need to feel a sense of urgency. Wow. America needs to move away from all this civil bullshit. It added a single day of additional voting off campus after the lawsuit was filed and some additional hours on campus. But a top official said it did not have the resource or time to do more. Oh, we just don't have the money. We just wish we did. For, what was the dude's name? Damon. Okay, for Damon, an independent getting to other polling sites is difficult. He has a full class schedule to balance with several chemistry and business clubs, and he lives off campus without a car. Wow. If I'm not eating or sleeping or studying, I'm really in class or in a meeting, he said after voting Tuesday at the Student Center, outfitted with a backpack and a bandana. He expressed satisfaction that even a single day of voting had been added, but expected disputes to continue because, as he put it, we might not vote the way they want us to vote. While restrictions are on the rise in some states, others have made it easier to vote. And I want to say this, that's reflected in everything they do. They want you to believe how they believe, vote how they vote, do everything they do. They're not into anything diverse, everybody. They're not. You're supposed to feel the same way they feel about everything, and that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. In the last 3 years alone, 15 states have moved to automatically register voters unless they opt out. When they visit motor vehicle agencies, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon now allow all voters to cast ballots by mail, while 37 states and the District of Columbia let voters cast ballots early. Florida voters will decide next week whether to end the disenfranchisement of felons, while 23 states have already loosened similar policies. 6 million Americans with felony convictions still cannot cast ballots because most of them are black. If they were white, it would have never been a fucking thing in place to begin with. You understand me? But I was going to say too, why isn't fucking voting day a national holiday? My question is rhetorical, everybody. I know the damn answer, but I'm posing it to the less sophisticated amongst us. Why isn't it a damn where everything is shut down by federal fucking mandate? You can't even get gas in this bitch on election day. That's the way it should be. So the only thing you can do is go vote. Because while the same system that would want to come down on this Secretary of State in Georgia and tell him he can't disenfranchise, they're actually disenfranchising the fucking whole country by default. By not letting that be a national fucking holiday where everything is closed. Everything. You don't work that day. You don't fucking go. You don't do nothing that day. The only thing that's open, it should be a ghost town like it is on fucking Christmas Day. It should be a ghost town. It should be a ghost town. You see? Wow. Some experts say that even intentional suppression, while contrary to democratic elections, is not likely to have a huge impact on vote totals. Oh, it is. Damn it. The estimates, listen, when you take 53,000 people off the damn voter rolls, that's going to have an impression, everybody. So this statement here is some bullshit. Some experts, we don't care, they shut up. the estimates you get are that these sorts of changes might reduce turnouts by a percentage point or two, said Charles Stewart III, an expert on election administration at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But with dozens of congressional and governor's races now within the margin of polling error, a point or two could easily decide many races with control of Congress at stake. Several court rulings say Republicans increasingly are writing voting rules with partisan intent. Voter ID legislation in Texas labels gun licenses acceptable at polling places, but not a college identification. Wow. Arizona has made it a crime to collect absentee ballots for transport to a voting site. A staple get out the vote practice. So that means somebody shut in can't send their. Come on, dude. Nearly 1,000 polling places have been. I don't know if I'm going on with this. I'm getting worked up. Nearly 1,000 polling places have been closed nationwide in the last half decade, according to a recent Pew report. And the number of people being purged from the voter rolls is rising sharply, according to a Brennan Center study. Last year counted at least 99 bills introduced in 31 states to restrict voting access. 99 bills in 31 states to restrict your black ass. States routinely call their lists of registered voters of those who have died or moved away, but some purge so aggressively that they sweep up legitimate voters. No, they do it on purpose. Ohio's policy, upheld this year by the Supreme Court, is the strictest. Voters who skip a single election receive a postcard warning them that they are being marked inactive. If they don't return the card and they don't vote in the 2 succeeding elections, they are removed from the fucking voter rolls. Think about this. Like I say, they like to say they're one thing on paper, but they're not that shit at all. Such policies can have a profound effect. If Ohio's policy has been applied in Florida and North Carolina, 89,000. If Ohio's policy had been applied in Florida, 89,000 people who voted in 2016 would have been disenfranchised, according to an analysis by Daniel Smith of the University of Florida and Michael somebody of Dartmouth College. It's shocking, Dr. Smith said. We don't ask gun owners to fire their weapons every 2 years and revoke their licenses 4 years after they don't. Later, if they don't. Some voters are pushing back. It's frustrating that voters are told that they are shameful for not voting, but then when you ask for measures that ensure we can vote, we're often mocked, said Megan somebody, a recent graduate of the University of Florida who fought successfully to bring voting back to Florida campuses and was a plaintiff in a suit against Florida's Secretary of State. Do I feel like reading this? No, I don't. Yeah, I don't feel like reading this. We're done. Bottom line is, you need to get your bitch ass out and vote tomorrow, everybody, because as the more I read on, the uglier it gets. That's the fact. The more you read on, the uglier it gets, because and I would suggest to you that it's not just Republicans, you understand, as far as whites go, you know. And then you talk about that generational hate and evil, like that little girl that was up there with her father. I just like him talking about Trump. She hasn't even figured out what fucking puberty is yet, you see. But this is how they're breeding their children. They breed them right into their same way of thinking. Same way. So she will be that same adult when your children are adults doing the same thing that her parents before her did, you see. You got to instill our children with different and new information. You got to understand, they need to understand the environment in which they live and who the fuck their enemy is in this bitch. And quit with all that grinning and getting along bullshit. You understand? And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. I will tell you now, and I pray Allah that Stacey Abrams wins in Georgia. But if she wins, I promise you, white people's heads are going to roll off their fucking shoulders, and it's not going to just be in Georgia. You understand? Every fucking racist ass motherfucker across this bitch is watching that race as intently as they're watching the rest, but certainly that one. Because she's going for governor. You know, Andrew Gillum in Florida, he's running for... I forget what he's running for, damn. And I had a video lined up to show you of him too. I'm not going to do it. I just don't need to. Because this is not a... I don't really need to hammer this issue. This is just about trying to show you the point where all this effort being put in is against your ass. And if your vote didn't matter, they would not be doing the shit. Your vote is the vote. The vote. And I got, you know, can I just, this is random, can I just object to our brother with all the shit he's wearing right here? This is a problem for me. A problem. I can allow the bandana, I guess. You're trying to do like a little Kendrick Lamar piece. Even the college spirit. But these fucking jeans kiss my entire ass. And they rolled up at the... my eyes. I can't. I think I just damaged my retina. Damn it. I think I just damaged my retina. So I'm saying I got a cataract or something. You feel me? I can't. But it's rampant, everybody. The attack is targeted, and it's rampant. You understand? Fear of the black vote. Fear of the black vote. Because to them, politics is directly related to way of life. You see it as a procedure, an act that you do every 2 and 4 years. For them, it's way of life. That's why they always talk about their values and their values. It's kind of like what I tell you about that Christian vomit. That's just something that you do. It's a procedure. You understand? For the Muslim, God's word is your way of life. Morning to night, birth to death. You don't understand that. You don't understand that. As it is with this. This is way of life. Way of life. You know? Like I say, I'm not going to bring all the stuff that I had lined up. I don't need to. Excuse me. I think I've made my point. You know? Judge rules against Georgia election law, calling it a severe burden for voters, huh? Voter suppression tactics in the age of, goddammit, the orange tulip. And matter of fact, I'm trying to wean myself from tulip because one of my sisters said, Jedi, that's my favorite flower or something like that. Please don't insult my flower. So, goddammit, the orange disaster. Alright? That works for me. You know what I'm saying? Works for me. And it helps out my sister. You know what I'm saying? Take a little stress off the sister. You know what I'm saying? Doing what I can. You know what I'm saying? Doing what I can. What else? Texas voting machines are reportedly switching votes from Beto O'Rourke to Ted goddammit Cruz. You see? Another one. Come on. Kamala Harris slams Georgia GOP gubernatorial candidates over voter goddammit suppression. It's everywhere. Do you understand me? It's everywhere. 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 Did North Carolina admit to targeting black voters with a voter ID law? Huh? That's the Carolinas. Shout out to my boy Marcus. You see what I'm saying? We should just scan this one because I'm interested. Two academics brought to light the state's effort to violate protections against intentional discrimination. You see, it's about us, everybody. It's about us. It always has been. It always is, and it always has been. It's always an us-them proposition. Us-them. Us-them. And so for those on the so-called right and Republicans, it's definitely a black-white issue. You understand? And anybody that's not white, quite frankly, but definitely us. Definitely. You see, that's why you saw the white devil. I got a big truck to round up illegal, what did he say? Criminal. What was his name? Criminal. It's worth hearing that. Let me hear that.
I got a big truck just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself.
Criminal illegals. You see? So that by default, criminal again. Language, everybody. Language. You see what I'm saying? Got me a big truck because I'm a white devil and a cross burner.
Just in case I need to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself.
Criminal illegals. You see? They must be criminal. You see? In their mind. Criminal. That's the subconscious speaking. That's the true heart revealing. The true heart revealing. Criminal illegals, said this pablum puking white racist devil. Because in his mind, they are fucking criminal. What did the Orange Disaster say when he announced? They're bringing in drugs. They're bringing in crime. They're bringing, you know, all the shit. Meanwhile, the criminal illegals in this bitch are their white ass. Every native will agree will agree with me on this. You see, they're the criminal illegals who came in and massacred over 139 million native people that were here. Now it's their land. Let them tell it. You see, it's all connected, everybody. You cannot ever see this as one singular puzzle piece. You must see it first as a puzzle piece, thereby implying by its very nature that it is connected to everything else. When you begin to view this society in that regard, everything makes sense to you, but more importantly, you begin to see the entire picture of what's really going on. So that when you see something like this whole voter suppression bullshit, you're able to now come in and not deal with it just, oh, that's happening. Oh, that's happening. It's like in its own little cubbyhole. No, no. I'm expanding your realm of thought to say, no, no. This is voter suppression, which is akin to the us-them dynamic that goes on with these damn people. It is hypocrisy at the highest order because they claim it's a democracy and it's for everybody and we're a melting pot and all the bullshit and freedom for all. You see, like Common said, justice for all just ain't specific enough. You see, you begin to see that. You begin to see the obsession for power and dominance. You begin to understand that equality is equated with oppression for these people, so there is never something they will seek. You begin to just stack up the ladder. So it's, you go, oh, that's just voter oppression, but voter suppression. But you begin to see that no, no, it's one screw in a big ass fucking thing. It becomes expected, predictable even. You see? And they got to have a big truck. Which is ironic because you can always find these fucking white racist fucking Republicans driving goddamn big ass trucks that cost $8,000 to fill up the gas tank. And it's usually when Republicans are in power that your gas goes through the fucking roof. But that doesn't matter. That's not against their values. You see? Excuse me. That don't have nothing to do with their values. Their values are about keeping America white and keeping your black ass out. That's what it's about. You see? So we need to start defining what our values are. You see? Here's another one. Another one, as DJ Khaled says. Okay, maybe not. Okay, there it is. Bring your shit. Need photo. No photo needed to vote. Huh? What's it say? The voter ID on the North Carolina ballot is about suppression, not fraud. Huh? Like I say, we could go through a million of these. Because it's going on all across this bitch. Because without theft of votes, suppression of votes, you don't have another Republican fucking president. So that automatically means, on just as it relates to just Republicans, stay with me now. That means as it relates to just Republicans, the writing's on the wall that there would never ever be another white president. If we're just talking Republicans, you can't have another Republican president, and so thereby by default, you would never get another white one. Because that's the only thing they produce. I remind you, it was the Democratic Party that produced a black president and almost produced a woman president. And her ass was only even legitimate or even considered to be valid because there had been a black president. Like I always say, once we've done it, then that opens the door. That means anybody can do it now. Because we're the main ones they don't want doing it. So if we can't do it, your ass will never do it. We produced a black president, so that opens the door for now a woman or anybody else to be goddammit president. You see? I remind you, black men got the vote, got the right to vote before the woman vote came in. So by default, that would mean the white heifer. You see? So once black men earned or got the right to vote, then that opened the door for women. So that proves my point twice. Black men get the vote, that opened the door for women to have a vote. Black president, black female, or now white female can run for president. You see? And the sniper fire ass bitch won the damn popular vote. You see what I'm saying? Well, if we can't stand her bitch ass, we have to just acknowledge truth. That's always first with us, no matter what. No matter what. Was this another one? Was this another one? Allahu Akbar. Yeah, this was another one. Midterms. Despite federal court rulings, voter suppression in Georgia is still blatant, is the language being used. Blatant and worrisome, according to experts. See? So regardless of court rulings and the law and everything, they don't give a damn. As long as they white, they right. And they will mow over their mother's dead carcass. They don't care. Rules and laws are only there to suppress and oppress others. This is why you can have this devil down there as Secretary of State who should clearly step down. That should have been the first requisite before he was even allowed to file his papers to run for governor. Okay, you're Secretary of State. You need to get rid of that first. Otherwise, you can't run. Now, had this sister been Secretary of State, our beloved Stacey, if she had been Secretary of State and was trying to run, they would have every fucking thing on earth to say about it. Everything. You got another devil in Florida that's running. DeSantis is his name. And he's running against Andrew Gillum, who, by the way, is almost a spitting image of one of my homeboys from back in the day, cuz. Back in the day, nigga. Back in the day, cuz. Back... My homeboy Bill Dawson from back in the day, cuz. Back in the day, nigga. Back in the day, cuz. I cannot with me. Damn. All I need was my house shoes and my sagging 501s with the belt real low, you feel me? And my bandana cocked and tied. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, kids. Back in the day, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, kids. I cannot with you, Jedi. But had this sister been the one, that would have been the main thing. It would be the leading story. Even the press would be hounding her. Why isn't your bitch ass stepping down? You see, man, we are in a race between education and catastrophe. So damn true. So true. So you need to get your black ass out and vote tomorrow, everybody. Do it for the ancestors. Do it to piss off racist ass fucking white people. You understand? And do it to put the first nail in the coffin of this orange disaster. Because a midterm sweep by Democrats will absolutely indicate a sweep for president in 2 years, and the bitch will not be given a second term. You understand? Can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. You know? But I also have to temper it with another hard truth, you know, if I haven't mentioned it already, and that is, excuse me, and that is that it was the fucking Democratic National Committee that handed the fucking presidency to this orange disaster. They were just so sure it was going to be fucking sniper fire. And those people who were staunch ass fucking Republicans but absolutely didn't think that Trump would or could win weren't ever going to vote for sniper fire. But they liked what Bernie was saying, and he was getting that support. Absolutely. But as I predicted, I said if they fuck around and keep fucking Bernie over, those people are going to run back to the fucking Republican side. They will stay home or they will vote for the orange disaster out of spite. Bernie supporters will stay at home or they will also vote for Trump. Just as a fucking, just for spite. But either way, I said the equation leads to, boom, you end up with the orange disaster as the president. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. I hate that I don't have that video anymore. You know, it was among all the shit that went when my channel got shut down. You know. But I did the prediction video and then I came back and did an I told you so. I told you so. And not because I'm brilliant, but because I fucking pay attention to what's going on. And the writing was on the wall. It was just as clear as day for me. You know? And that's what happened. And I told you that Oprah was down there campaigning for Stacey. She's giving speeches. She's literally gone door to door, knocking on doors, obviously shocking the hell out of people. You open the door and Oprah's standing there, I would probably faint my damn self. But there she was down there, doing her thing, and she actually had a sit down talk with Stacy at this event right here that this was just a still shot of. And it was a great conversation between two sisters, So I've done what I can do, I came to try to be a voice that will maybe get more of my people out to vote. Maybe I've been able to touch someone or many who maybe hadn't thought about it this way, didn't know this information, had decided they weren't going to vote, and maybe because of this now they will. Allahu Alam. This is the Jedi.